Now then, fast forward, you and Vanessa living happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, we had children.
She was living with me, so you knew it wasn't going to be
the
that
happily
happy.
ever after we got to put in quotes. You have a daughter, and your first daughter is
Kalia.
Kalia.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean?
Kalia is a little play on the Hebrew phrase from Psalm 113, verse 5. The psalmist is saying, "Who is like the Lord our God?" And the point of the psalm is to recognize that the implied answer is no one. No one is like God. Yeah. God is above all. He's over all. It's a psalm on the sovereignty of God. And so Kalia is from the same phrase that actually refers to who God is, where we get the name Michael from. And it's a little play on the Hebrew. We kind of adjusted the spelling a little bit, but we dropped the ma, where we get the Michael, and then we have ka-al-ya, and we kind of modify that into
Long
Kalia.
A, Kalia.
Yeah, who is like the Lord our God.
And I'm sure you've taught her. That's what her name means.
We have.
And Kalia is how old?
She's 3.5.
3.5.
Yep.
Okay. And then you have a second
We have a second daughter.
Tell me about her.
Named Adriel. And
what does that mean?
Adriel, well, let me sort of explain the circumstances if I can.
Please do.
We chose not to find out when we found out we were pregnant. We were excited about that, and we chose not to find out whether we were having boys or girls. And so as a result, we planned a boy's name and a girl's name, having no idea until the birth what we would have. And so we had done that with Kalia, and so it wasn't until she was born that we found out it's a girl. And I mispronounced her name when the doctor said what would her name be. It was just, it's one of those moments, it's the first one.
I'm just a dad,
We got pregnant with Adriel, and the pregnancy was very hard. My wife was sick. And just a lot of challenges. She was actually healthy, and the baby was healthy, but just it was one of those pregnancies that just wasn't smooth, and lots of challenges there. And on the morning of the 37th week, so 37 weeks is full term, and on the morning, the first day of the 37th week, there were some problems, and we knew we better go in and go for a checkup. So we went in for a checkup, knowing that we were going to probably have this baby in about 2 weeks. And we went in for the checkup, and the doctor said, Mom is healthy and baby's healthy, but these issues that are coming up, we can't let you go. We don't know why you're having them. There doesn't seem to be any health concerns, but nor can we let you go. So we'll do some more tests, more specialists, and so on, all on the same day. And finally they said, everything looks fine, but we can't let you go. So we're gonna take the baby now. So I hadn't come to the hospital with anything, and we had come for an appointment, and now this was going to end up to be a C-section and a birth. Yeah. And so in many ways that was good, because the pregnancy had been long and hard and very challenging, and so that would be the birth. And it's the same doctor in the same operating room in the same hospital 20 or 19 months later, 21 months later, after the first one, and doctor told us we had another little baby girl. And we named her Adriel, and that's a play on, again, a Hebrew phrase from the word Hador or Ador, which is majesty, and El is a reference to God. So Hadorel, or when you drop the H, would be silent in Hebrew. It would be Adorel or Adriel. Again, we just played with the spelling, which would be the majesty of God or God's majesty. And so that was the name we had planned for if we were to have another little girl. And we did, and God blessed us with that. About 15 minutes after her birth, they came and called me over and they said, Dad, it looks like she has all the signs of Down syndrome. And I said, oh. I didn't know what to say, and so I said, how do you know? I didn't know. Sure. And so they start to show me some things and so on. And I was relieved the pregnancy was over because it had been so hard. And I didn't have a lot of reaction. The one reaction I had was I need to tell Vanessa. And so I made my way in the operating room from our baby, Adriel, over to my wife, and told her right away. and she was fine. One of the difficult things was, as is true with many babies with Down syndrome, breathing is very hard at birth. They don't have the strength in their lungs, and the muscles haven't developed enough. And so when Kaylee was born, we got to hold her and take her to our room and all the usual things. Adriel went immediately to the NICU. So it was just Vanessa and I talking. And shortly after Adriel was in the NICU, I don't remember whether it was a nurse or a doctor or practitioner came in and talked to us a little bit. And we had talked about this, and we were fine, but we were very ignorant. I mean, we just didn't know a lot about what this meant and what was all involved. And the I believe it was a nurse shared with us that she said, today, when people do prenatal testing, when they test on the baby to find out whether there's any diseases or anything before the baby is born, if they find out the baby has Down syndrome, the rate of abortion is astronomical. I don't remember whether she said 88% or 91% or some unbelievable number. And right at that moment, Vanessa and I looked at each other. We knew precisely why we had Adriel, because we would never have thought of that in a million years. And so
having the pre-test.
Yeah, or aborting.
Of course.
And so we had this beautiful little girl who we knew nothing about, of course, but we knew that in a different situation to a different couple, she may never have been born. Yeah. And she has turned out to be the majesty of God in an unbelievably wonderful and beautiful way that, again, never would have written it on my list, never would have picked it, but we wouldn't trade her for the world. She's been wonderful.
And she's now how old?
She's 21 months old.
Yeah.
She's doing well. She's talking. She's learning words. She also does a lot of signing. So I've had to learn that, and Vanessa's had to learn that. Vanessa has a background in education, and
That's right.
I have a background in education and teaching, and so God gave us a little project, and she's been wonderful. So. Again, it's just interesting to see how the Lord works in ways that, we wouldn't have imagined, and then in the end, we wouldn't have traded.